Okay, so everybody's here, so we can get started. We're gonna have a wonderful, wonderful class today. We have a guest speaker in Elizabeth and Pam. You weren't on, but I'll be introducing my daughter Brandy in a little bit. She's gonna be talking about how to hear spirit better. Well, I'll just let her describe what she's going to talk about, because spirit might be telling her to talk about something different. I can't tell you what she's going to talk about. But we'll go into prayer. Good morning, Sherry. We'll go into prayer and then we'll get started. The creator of all that is, thank you and bless each and every one of us that have attended this anniversary. Thank you for allowing us to bring this information to others on YouTube. Open up their hearts and their ears so that they may hear and be able to put changes in their lives that bring forth more love into their lives and more of your spirit into their being, so that they can walk a better path. Bless each and every living thing, Father, and bless us each with joy and compassion, understanding, and love for one another. I hope.
Play a song?
Yes. And Brandy picked this song out. It's a beautiful song.
Abundance flows to me when I get out of my own way. Life is so easy when I focus on what is great. I am worthy of reciprocated energy. I am worthy of a love that loves as deep as me. I am worthy of aligning with my higher self. I am worthy of desiring miracles and health. Oh, manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I want to come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need. Manifest magic. Success belongs to me when I am in my happy place. I forgive with ease when I open up my heart space. I am worthy of healing my trauma. I am worthy of releasing karma. I am worthy of aligning with my highest goals. I am worthy of desiring goodness for my soul. Oh, manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I want to come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need. Manifest magic.
And it's really important that we start to understand that we are here for a divine purpose. We're not here to struggle anymore. We are here to be free. We're here to express our creativity, to be grateful for these bodies that our soul is housed in temporarily. It's time for us to truly express our divinity and to step into our power and know that we are worthy of living our dream life.
Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Manifesting, manifesting magic. Building a life I've only seen in my dreams. Knowing the things I want to come into me. Trusting the process will bring me what I need.
All yours, ShaHaWin.
I thought that was such an awesome song, especially because the lady was doing all the yoga poses that we've been talking about in the past lessons that we need to do, you know, so that the energy flows properly in our body. So I thought that was just perfect because Brandy didn't know we had been talking about any of the yoga poses and stuff. So that, to me, that's just spirit saying, here it is, you know. So I'm gonna turn y'all over to Brandy, and I'm gonna sit back and enjoy my cupcake. So, we're gonna have to put some water over here, so we won't twist it.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Brandy Littleheart. So today, Mom suggested that maybe I come in and talk to y'all because everyone who is seeking a spiritual path, they have one thing. They're looking for the best version of themselves, right? Like, how do we get there? What does that look like? Well, the answer to everything is unconditional love. That's the highest frequency of anything you can get. It's God's frequency. And it sounds really simple, just a word, but it's so much more than that, because to unconditionally love everything, you have to unconditionally love yourself. You have to realize everything and anything's an energy, from the water you drink to a cupcake to a pencil to a person. Every single thing, a word, all has energy. Energy lives on a cycle. So it's always going, but it can dissipate. So if you're saying, I love you, that goes out to the universe and it goes on for as length of energy that it takes. If you say, I hate you, it does the same thing. So, sorry, got nervous. Sorry, so stop staring at me, Mom. Jeez.
You're
You're
doing
making me
good.
nervous.
That's wrong.
Yeah, you're making me nervous. Okay, so unconditional love, that's the answer. When everyone's always looking for how to move forward, that end goal where you feel like something's missing in your life, it's the part of you that is your soul. Because as y'all have learned with chakras, I don't know how my mom explains it, but how I explain it is your body, you have a human body, and then you have a soul. Your chakras keep your human body and your soul aligned. It's like the magnetic field that holds those two pieces together and onto earth. They all do different things, as y'all have been learning, and they all have to be clear and unclogged. But it's just not that simple, because in order to have unconditional love for every energetic thing, you have to first start with yourself. And that's the hardest thing for any human, because we as humans have a hard time looking at ourselves and our pieces of us. And just like y'all have learned, there's good pieces, there are bad pieces, and there are ugly pieces. They all exist within you, and that's okay. And learning to know that's okay, and that it's not something to be ashamed of or feel bad of. It's just part of you. You have to learn to love all those parts, all the good parts, all the bad parts, and all the ugly parts. Learning what roles you played in those energies to take place and learn from them, so you can find the healing in it and find the unconditional love. When you finally find the unconditional love, that's when you're set free. You're never going to not stop learning, because there's just so much infinite energy out there in the world. There's always more to open yourself up to. But to feel balanced, you have to feel balanced in all your parts, in your mental state, in your physical state, emotional and spiritual, but not just on a soul side. You also have to find that balance on your human side. And that's what's tricky, because as humans, we were born with the ability to have free will. That was the whole point of us existing. So that way we can either go up in energetic energies or down. They're not bad or good. It's like a negative and a positive. They just exist. There are lower vibrations and higher vibrations, all existing in their state, kind of like a shark. You know, a shark's not out to eat you, but if you are in the ocean, it might bite you because you're in its area, but it's just doing what it was born to do. So low vibration energies are just like that. They're doing what they do existing in their energetic field. And as far in high vibrations, all of those exist on this human earth. They exist within you. So it's finding the balance with all those parts. That is the answer to everything that people seek, is finding that unconditional love. And it's really hard because most people have a hard time really genuinely loving themselves. And that comes with the biggest thing, which is forgiveness and learning to let go. And whether that's what someone did to you, what you did to someone, all those moving parts, you have to examine it all so you can feel free. When you start walking your spiritual path, the more you move, as I'm sure all of y'all have experienced, it's hard because you get whammed with energy immediately trying to hold you back. Why? Well, that's because we're in spiritual warfare, and we have been in for a very long time. So the negative vibrational energies that exist, they're like, no, we've been eating off of you. We're getting your energy. You're staying down here with us. We're feeding off of you. So when you try to elevate yourself and break free of those negative vibrations, they will at first hit you as hard as it can over and over and over and over, because they want to find your weak spot. Kind of think of yourself with a giant dome around you. They're all like tip, 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 tip. They're looking for the weakest leak to break in. And what that is usually something that maybe you're afraid of, or you have negative feelings of still left in your body. If you have depression or anger issues, anything like that, that's what they'll find, and they'll weasel their way in, and it will hit you over and over. But if you keep standing tall and not letting it affect you, you can move forward. And that's hard because things do affect you. If your battery's dead outside in your car when you're trying to go to work, it's going to affect you. You're going to be annoyed. You're going to be irritated. You might have to jump it, might have to get a new battery. That is human stuff, and it's going to exist. The negative, dark, whatever you want to call it, those energies are never, ever, ever going to stop trying to break you. Why? Because they want to trap your soul. They don't want you to elevate and move up. But what happens is when you start embracing unconditional love in yourself in all parts, those things start to feel like pebbles in your shoe versus giant mountains. So it's changing your mindset of the vibration and understanding that those things, they're going to occur. Ugly and bad is going to occur in this world no matter what you do. Why? Because as every human was born, a soul was born in the human body, we were all given free will. And that means that there are going to be millions of people out there telling you you're doing it wrong. But guess what? No matter if you do it right or wrong, that's not an equal thing. So you could do something, it'd be right for someone, do something again, it'd be wrong. So you have to learn to love and embrace who you are and have the trust and belief that you are moving forward for your highest purpose. And just know, no matter what that looks like, as long as you love yourself and you're walking, it's going to be great. But there will always be people telling you you're crappy for it. There will always be people telling you you're wrong for it, because that just exists, just like positive and negative, the balance. There's no way to ever escape that. But when you start to feel grounded, and when you share your good, your bad, your uglies, and you embrace those and you wear them as armor instead of like weights. Most people take all their trauma and they wear it down, and it's, oh, poor me, now I'm the victim. But those things, no, spirit, God, whatever you'd like to call it, did not want you to deal with that. But now that you have the opportunity for growth. You have the opportunity to realize those things are not your burdens anymore, but your armor. They can build you up. And that's when how learning to love it yourself and everything else comes in. Most people have a hard time really embracing that because it's easy to be like, oh, I'm pretty, oh, I'm nice, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, and say all these great things. But it's hard to really look at yourself and say and accept those parts of you that aren't that great. Me, I have really bad anxiety, and I will chew someone's head off if you're in the middle of it. And that's okay, because that's human. And those are things that as humans, we have to look at ourselves and stop seeing those negative or low vibrations that exist within us as a problem, as something like, oh no, someone will use that against me. There's hate everywhere. It exists, and it's always going to exist. Hopefully, the more unified people who are walking light and love light can come together and make a stronger unit, which will help bring balance in the world as a whole and will lessen that. But it's always going to exist, because you can't have one without the other. So with my mom saying earlier, the lessons of how do you connect with spirit? Well, it's that vibration of unconditional love. Every single human was born with the ability to have or possess what some people might call gifts, being able to hear spirit, see spirit, and everything in between there, because it's not just one or two things. There's so many. We were all born with the capacity to be able to do that. But what happens is, from a young age, we're told that's not real. That doesn't exist. You're crazy. No, no, no. And so you learn to dim it. You learn to not even notice those energies. And so as you get older and you start to walk a spiritual path, it can feel really uneasy, because you're like, I think I'm feeling spirit or they're talking to me, but I'm not sure, because it's so can come in so clouded. Like how I would describe it, it usually comes in muffled. Like you can't hear completely what I'm saying, but maybe you're catching one word. The more you believe in that, and the more you trust in it, that that is the truth and that is unconditional love, and you're getting clear messages, it will come in clearer. And it just keeps growing. From a physical sense, the average human only uses about 20% of their brain. What else was it used for? My personal opinion, and Spirit has told me yes before that is very true, is that all of that is the capabilities that we all have that aren't being accessed, that were once accessed, but due to separation of every unit, it has divided us for many, many years. So that way, all the secrets of how to take care of yourself and cleanse yourself and protect yourself and heal yourself on the spiritual, it's barely talked about. It's not the norm anymore. And there's no time for it, because we have broken up family units, divided the people as a whole to keep us uneducated on how to really make ourselves as humans thrive to the best potential that we can get in this lifetime. Sorry, I was seeing. I have a lot of. I hear spirit. I see spirit. I see all kinds of things. So if I just stop talking, it's because I'm listening. So yeah. But the biggest thing that Spirit wanted me to come on here and talk about is unconditional love, and how that is the answer to everything. But it's hard to reach that level. It's really hard, because you have to look at yourself, and that's where it comes down to at first. But it's towards everything, towards the things you eat, towards the things you do, towards the words you spit out. If you're saying, oh, I hate this house sucks, guess what? That's what you're recharging your energy in. Whatever you're putting out is the energy that's vibrating around you. Now, you're human, you're gonna have crappy days. There's no way to escape that. You're gonna have human days, because to feel low vibrations like sadness, anger, depression, anything on like those scales, that is your human side. Because our souls only know infinite light and love. That's the only thing they know. That's the only thing they are. So when you're on any kind of vibration other than that, you're operating mainly on your human side. That doesn't mean you're not accessing your soul side. You're just not fully walking in the spirit side 100%. And that's okay. Even wanting to move forward is a beautiful thing, because most humans don't wake up to do that. They don't have that feel. They want to fall in line and just take the easy route, because walking a spiritual journey is very hard. It can be very lonely. It can be very distraughting in the beginning, because you're going to be hit with all these negative things, trying to make sure you don't break free from that energy. It does end, and you will learn how to think differently about it and how to react. Me, I used to could take months, weeks, if a crappy thing happened in my life. But here lately, especially the last 6 months, I'm just learning that those energies 100% will always exist. There's no way to get away from them, because it's only human. It's how you respond to them and how you let that hit you, because it will work its way out of you, and it will work its way out of you on all 4 parts: your physical, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual. One might hit you more intensely than the others, but each emotion has to circulate through all 4 of those quadrants, and not even on your human side, but also on your soul side, because it's kind of like a quarter. There's a heads and a tails connected by your chakras. Yeah.
Did y'all hear that? It's the complete circle, that I talk about, the circle at the beginning. You'll always find the ending. And that's, you have to walk through all quadrants of the circle to be able to clear the energy and stuff. That's all. Sorry.
You're fine. So coming back together as a unit, learning how to work with people without feeling like you're better or you're worse or envious, that's hard, but that's what will make a stronger connection on a spiritual community. And if you can find your spiritual community and build off of it, it will change the world, not just yourself, but the whole world. And that is what's needed in order to keep moving forward for us as a human race to keep moving forward. There's a lot of things that is done in the United States, but worldwide too, to keep people separated, to keep hate alive. So that way it will separate people. Because if we're all separated, we're all working 9 to 5s and moving, and I have to make this money to pay this bill. We're never have time for ourselves. We don't have time to do anything. So it's easier to fall in line. But when you come back together as a community, as a unit, you're sharing the burdens of everything, not only the physical things. Like if you have a kid, they're going to watch them. You're going to help them mow their yard. All those things on the physical. You're going to have the emotional fulfillment, because you're going to be able to share stories and talk and work through that. Also, that's same for the mental. And the spiritual, you'll be able to share everyone's, if you want to call it, gifts, and work together. That way, everything just keeps going in a positive manner. And so the energy gets more and more to unconditional love, which is light and love, God energy, great spirit energy. This, the highest thing is just unconditional love. And that's hard, because as humans, we have fear, we have judgment, we have tons of different things. So it's breaking free from all that. But it's hard. It's hard to not have commentaries of judgment, because that's bred into us from a young age, like from society, from your school, from the media, could be from your parents. We're taught from a young age to hate. And that is what hinders people from fully accessing their spiritual gifts, their spiritual alignment. You have to get rid of that hate. You have to get rid of that fear. You have to get rid of those low vibrations. Now, you'll never fully 100% escape them because, like I said, that's human. But when you learn that those things are not bad things, they just exist, then you find the balance within them. Because that's all you need. That's all you're here for, is to exist and have beautiful experiences. There's all this ugly to drain you and pull you back and to hold you back. And when you're trying to elevate your energetic field, it definitely will come and hit you like a whole lot. It's going to knock you down because it doesn't want you to succeed. But if you keep on pushing, then eventually there's no fear, there's no depression, there's none of those things left within you to really cause an impactful, energetic, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, like an energetic pull. It isn't going to hit you that bad. It's just going to feel like a pebble in your shoe because you're finding the balance, you're finding that unconditional love. Well, yes, that has to do with your choice. Oh, and let's talk about this. So we all have, like I said, we all as humans have the capability to access spiritual gifts because we were all born with that ability because God gave every soul that. So to have that, it can be, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. We were all given the opportunity to grow. What happens when you start trusting in that, whether it's a feeling in your stomach, a color, whether you hear auditorily or in your head, it's like you can hear thoughts, hear a story, no matter what that is, touch and have healing capabilities, any of that, it will grow the more you trust in it, the more you don't doubt it, because doubt is one of those lower vibrations. It's meant to hold you back. Learning to trust in that. And that's hard. And that takes time because every day you have to like kind of argue with yourself, like, no, I'm going to keep moving forward. No, I'm going to choose that. And eventually that goes away and you have all this beautiful things. But what happens if you're chugging along in life and your human starts creeping back in, your shadow self's like, hey girlfriend, you the thing. And your ego starts taking over. It doesn't stop the gifts you have. It just muffles them again. So they still exist, but now they're still back like this. And if you don't really know a lot about energy and how energy exists and what it is, it can sometimes be blinding because when you've trusted in spirit so long and the human comes in, it can blind those and blur those lines. So it's a never ending thing. You're always going to be having to put the positive energy and put your best foot forward. But learning that all of that is unconditional love, that's the key to everything. Unconditional love. It's not your place to judge someone. It's not your place to do that. But find the forgiveness, find the way. Doesn't mean you have to be their best friends. Doesn't mean you have to, someone who has hurt you, abused you in any way, doesn't mean you have to go sit and have lunch with them. You don't have to do that. You don't even have to call them and tell them you forgive them, but it's finding the forgiveness in the situation, not only what other people or other energies affect you, but also the roles you played. And that's what's hard is most humans, we don't like to talk about the roles we played. We don't like to admit that we may have did something. Why? Because of the separation of the world, we're taught that's a bad thing because it's a way to keep you bound and chained to your egoic side and not find the unconditional love. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to talk about is learning that because that's the key to everything. And It's hard, but every human has the capability of walking on that unconditional light, that unconditional love, finding that vibration. Every single person is capable. And every day is a new day. Yesterday, you can't take back what you did. You can't change it. You can't do anything. You have to make peace with it. You have to find the balance in it. You have to find the love in all of that. And let go of every other thing so you can continue moving forward. And like I said, during that time when you're trying to really elevate yourself, it's probably going to look really ugly. Why? Because of the war going on, the darkness, negative, low vibration energies don't want you to break free. They don't want your soul. They want to keep eating your soul and trap it in whatever energy they're trying to do. They don't want you to be set free. But once you stop reacting and letting it devastate every piece of you, it stops affecting you hugely. And you just keep moving forward and you just give that unconditional light or love, and you may never get that back. And you have to make peace with that. You know what you're doing is right for you, and that ugly exists everywhere. Ugly vibrations, it's always going to exist. So walking your truth, walking in God and spirit, and finding that balance, it can be very complicated because we're human.
Can you like kind of share with them how they can switch their thought process when they're in the lower vibration?
I could try. Okay. I wish I could tell you there's a simple, oh, do this and this is the answer. It's not that simple. But what it is finding the balance in it. So like last year, I injured my leg. I also had cancer and I had to have surgery, and my leg kept me off of it for almost 8 months. I couldn't even stand up. Now, on top of everything else that has my life, that could have broke me, and it almost did. There was so many parts of me, I'm just like, I'm just so tired of always fighting in life. Like, why is everything an uphill battle? But what I realized is, like you said, you have this dome. Those negative things, they found their way in. They were like, she's weak right there. Strike now. And it just kept coming and coming and coming, and it was breaking me. But when I decided to realize that I could let it break me, or I could continue pushing forward and turn it into armor like I've done everything else in my life. But it is something you have to consciously tell yourself and remind yourself. Like in these last 6 months, I made it something I was conscious about. I would remind myself, every time I was like, okay, you can let this hit you, or you can be like, this is what it is. It sucks, but I'm still happy and I'm still going to give out that unconditional love and move forward. It started with taking me weeks to get back to that vibration. And now, because it's so conscious in my brain, because I kept telling myself and reminding myself, it's not even something I have to think about right now. I'm just like, it's trying to get me. And I'd be like, not today, girlfriend. You ain't gonna get me today. But sometimes it will win. Sometimes you'll have a crap day with 20 things. And just know that that's okay, because that's human. You're not going to get out of that. But it's choosing to stay in those low vibrations and letting it consume you so it spreads kind of like a virus and gets all over you to eat your soul, because that's what it's doing. The energy's eating your pure soul. Or you can let it filter through you and not work against it. So if you just let it flow through you, saying it is what it is, it might suck. If you just let it flow through you, it gets over very quickly and you're back to your energetic field that was there before it. But what happens usually is when we get hit, we clench up and we're like, why? Why does God hate me today? He didn't do that. But human energetic fields that exist, they're going to happen. But it's okay to feel like, why? Just don't stay in that forever. Don't let that consume your every thought. Find the joy, find the happiness in it. Because for me, I've had a crazy, crappy life in my life. all kinds of things. But I can look back and be like, oh, poor me. I had cancer. I have a kid who's really sick. My first husband beat me. Like, I could sit here all day and cry about it, or I could be like, yeah, crap things happen, but I learned I was strong. I learned that I could get through those horrible times. And if I can get something through horrible, you can too. And there's a lot of ugly. It's never going to stop. You just have to find the peace and the joy and the happiness in it, and the comfortability in your own skin to find the unconditional love within yourself. So that way you can give it to the world. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. When you say let it flow through you, okay, that's a difficult concept.
It is.
Is it, the only thing I can compare it to maybe is when I started to meditate, learning how to meditate, is to picture clouds going by, to observe, but don't hold on to it and don't own it or keep it.
Yeah, that idea is the same, because what normally happens when an energy hits you, you respond to it. That's only human, is to have that response. So when something negative hits you, like let's say your car battery, you're on your way to an appointment, you get in there, it won't start. You could literally say, start punching things, start screaming, start, or you could just be like, all right, this sucks. Let's just get through this. I'm still going to have a good day.
You still feel it.
You will still feel it, but it will just be little compared to giant. But you're only human. You're going to have those giant moments, especially as you're working to create that change within your physical mental state.
It's temporary. Is that
It, yeah, you can say it's temporary, and there isn't a one shoe fit all thing. Like, energy doesn't work like that. What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa, because you have to find what works best for you, because like snowflakes, all people, we're created uniquely. We're not the same. So it's never going to always work completely for everyone in the same manner. Now, it is something you just be conscious of. If it's something you need, something physical or tangible as a thing, you could always jot a memo note in your phone, write it down, find something physical. If you anxiety rings, stress band-aid, like rubber bands, there's all kinds of things that you could use if you needed something physical. Like, you can get a crystal, a worry stone. But if you have the capability of just making it a thought in your head, and like I said, it's going to be something you will have to physically create that thought for yourself for a little bit but then eventually it'll pop up there by yourself, because it's used to being present there. Because our human brain works just like chakras and everything. It works in a circle. That's why you can walk and talk and blink and do things without even thinking about it, because it's found its routine, it's found its normal, and it's always circulating. When you create a new thought, what happens? It circulates, it hits the new thought, and it's like, okay, what do we do here? And you have to actively pull that energy and create a new circle. So it's a little hard and challenging for the human body itself. And that's just normal. But eventually, just like it will get back in a routine, and it will be present even without you trying, because your brain will get used to that being present in that area.
And trust me, when she says that, like we talked about, everything's in a circle, and these emotions, when they come in, it's the language, like I said, it's the language that's coming through your body that you have to understand, because it goes through every section. Okay. And now this, for me, I'm learning that on my physical side, I chose to block all that up and not ever feel it. So guess what I'm having to do right now at this time in my life, at this age, is undo all of that. That's why I stay in so much pain. That's why I'm, having some health issues right now, is because my body tensed up like this and said, oh, I'm not going to feel this. and I kept it all in my body. And so I'm learning to release that now. And you have to understand, I'm in my 60s, so I've got 60 years of gunky shit. And I'll say it like that I have to release. And it's not no fun, but I also know that and can see and can feel and can hear it from spirit that I am clearing it and balancing myself in a lot better way than I had been. And it was due to actually Brandy telling me how the energy worked through all the mental, the physical, the emotional. And remember when I tell you each one of us plays a part in the circle, we all bring a part and a tool to the circle for all of us to stay balanced. And I'm gonna turn it back to Brandy now.
So yeah, I guess with that, any other questions?
Can y'all hear Leo?
Can you hear me?
No, they said they cannot.
Come over here somewhere though.
I'm hanging myself up here. Yeah, I had a question that came up this last week in my mind is,
Y'all can hear him, okay?
okay. Anyway, y'all heard me talk here a while back about my experiences. And that one experience where someone was trying to kill me and a rifle shot rang out and I got pushed out of the way. And it's really saved my life. And I'm curious, I thought that our spirit helpers and stuff were not supposed to interfere with what goes on in this world. So that's my question is what was going on there?
So spirits being able to interact with you on the human field. For one, they're all around us all the time, just most people don't see them. Your team can do different things to protect you. I don't want to, okay, so first spirit wants to say that they cannot always do that. You can't be like, okay, if spirit didn't want me here, they would physically save me. It doesn't work like that. However, you getting like, ugh, and it making you fall over, that is how like the energy, the worker, like they're showing me the worker, the spirit guy that was with you during that time had such a powerful energy when it was trying to get your attention and like tell you to pay attention. You weren't really listening. So you've had to have the the harder energies. And unfortunately, well, positively, because it did help you, when it hit you that time, it caused you to have a physical reaction.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it wasn't like they were like, oh, we see someone shooting you, we're going to push you out the way. It wasn't like that. It was, hey, pay attention, be on guard, which you were having those feelings, but you weren't taking the actions that with you at the time.
They were telling me to move to another place and I was ignoring it. Yeah.
So the energy hits you harder and that caused a physical reaction. And that's why people, when they come in contact with someone crossed over, any kind of spirit, like you have people say, oh, I felt this on my hand. I felt their touch. I felt their hug. It's the same thing. When the energy is powerful enough, you will feel it on the physical because everything works in unity. So if something happens to you on the spiritual, it will affect your emotional and your mental and your physical. If it happens on your physical, it will affect the other one. So it works that way. And sometimes one of the quadrants hits you harder than the other ones.
Okay, all right, there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, so anybody else have any questions?
I have a question, comment. It's kind of like the two wolves. We have both of them speaking to us. What Leo was saying made me think of a time when I was a child, and when I was young, I had very fast dirt bikes. And I remember coming back this one time, going as fast as I could, like 80 miles an hour sideways on the dirt road, just crazy fast. And I got this slow down right in my ear, and I'm just still going, and it slow down. And I'm like, what was that? And then slow down. So I slowed down, and a pickup truck came 80 miles an hour sideways the other way. So the question, I guess, kind of is, how do we, because like I wrote an article that the circle is familiar with, is called The Fallen. The bad can influence us just as easily as the good can influence us.
Yeah.
How do we learn the different voices more
Okay,
clearly?
so the biggest thing to do with that is to learn energy. And like I said, everything has an energy, from a pen to water to a person. So my recommendations that I usually tell people is to start understanding energy is get a notebook, start touching everything, hold stuff, describe what it feels like. And you might say it feels like nothing. That's okay. Does it feel like a color? Does it feel sad? Does it feel like, start doing that with everything. And usually around like the 3-week mark up until 3 months, because some people move a little slower, and that's okay because we're not all the same. You'll start learning what the energy feels like to you. So you can, and that's what it takes, is the awakeness to understand the different vibrations and really what they are on an energetic thing, whether they're negative or they're positive. Unconditional love just feels like a warm hug on the inside, like it's all melty and it's like this, just great. But there's the lower ones. But if you've never learned how to understand energy, it would all feel the same to you. So my recommendation is to start recording, touching everything. Sit, maybe go outside, touch a tree, touch it, things that are alive, that aren't alive, and start recording what they feel like, so you can start seeing what energy feels like to you. And after about 3 weeks, up to 3 months, you will start being conscious of, okay, this feels like this, so it means this, and learning to have that trust in it, that belief in it. Because the more you believe in it, the more the doors open, and the more, without a doubt, you'll realize, like for me, I realize things quickly, what vibration it falls on. But it's learning to be conscious of what energy is and what it feels like, so that you can understand it. And the only way I can tell you to do that is to start looking at it yourself, because we are individual and so unique. What I feel may not be what you feel, but that's okay, because it doesn't have to be the same. It's to get that message, because we're all a little different. We will get messages that are the same context, but explained differently to each of us, because it's going to be explained or felt on a level where you're at on an energetic plane. So my thing, yeah, go touch everything, record it, start feeling, and it's okay to say nothing. It's okay to say it makes me feel fuzzy, it feels calm, it feels like the color blue. You might touch it and see a story, like get a picture book in your head. There's no right or wrong, but start recording that, so that way you can start having the belief in it and start recognizing what things are similar and what that means. From what I have learned and how I've done and how I communicate with spirit, I do not believe, and they're saying no, like if you're wanting that complete balance, you do have to understand energy first. And sadly, that's not something that is taught a lot nowadays. Everyone knows what energy is. We know that there's bad energy, good energy, and it's not really bad or good. It's negative and positive. And just like a battery, like we're positively charged as humans. So when a negative vibration comes in, it zaps us. Why? Because we're positively charged and it's negatively charged, and it's having an interaction. But if you know it's negative, you again letting it have that reaction instead of clenching up and be like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. This is horrible. You just be like, okay, I know this is existing right now. It's okay. I'm okay. We're good. It'll flow right through you and it won't affect you as deeply.
I work in harm reduction, and a lot of the people I deal with are heroin addicts, and they have entities, they have attachments. So that's a different form of energy, and you have to deal with that differently too.
Yes, just okay. So like all energies have a neutralizer, because for every negative, there is a positive. There's always a way to neutralize something, but it's not always the same. Something that might neutralize a negative that's like maybe up here versus down here. Maybe you could use sage or holy water. These ones might require prayers. These ones might require musical assistance, color existence, talking. It just depends on how it's affecting the person and what quadrant it's affecting on as the main piece. But you have to learn the vibration that is existing so that you know what vibration will counteract it and remove it. But you have to understand energy first. And the best way to do it is to start touching everything and recording what things make you feel like. And then learning that when you get that gut feeling or you feel something, start paying attention to it and start choosing to believe in activeness of it. And trusting it. And again, the more you trust, the more you believe in it, the bigger it grows.
And remember, right now, we're all working on having that gut feeling and trusting our gut feeling instead of doubting it. That's part of it. That's part of learning about energy.
Yes, because your gut
Okay.
feelings are typically 98% of the times for humans, that does come from a spirit guide, someone working closely with you. It doesn't, because it's not meant to.
Repeat what he said, because Leo said when you're in the tar, it don't feel good.
And that it's funny you would say tar, because that's how negative energy looks like when it clings on and hardens, like not fresh, but when it's been there a minute, it looks like tar. Like it's thick and ooey and gooey and black, and it gets hard. And once it gets hard, it'll take a stronger positive, a stronger neutralizer, because not only you got to break that shell and then clear the ick, but we all have that. There's no way, there's not one thing. You could be a Buddhist monk, you can walk through walls energetically, and you're still going to have to deal with ick, because as long as you're living in a human body on this earth, you're going to have ick, because ugly exists on every plane. Yeah, I do. Oh, I can see the tar. Yeah. There's not much that I don't see, but it's just a world that exists, but we become blind to it because we're taught it doesn't. And so the belief, you tune it out, kind of like a frequency. You adjusted it, and now you're just existing on a human plane. But as everyone who's here right now, you know, their spirit exists just as much as spirit exists. It exists everywhere in you, in a pencil, because energy is spirit. It is, whether it's on a negative vibration or positive vibration, it is spirit. Yeah.
That's really good, Sherry. Okay, anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Rodney. That was really good.
Thank you, Brandy.
She said it reminded her of the bog from the Never Ending Story, the tar.
I love how you said that energy is spirit, whether it's negative or positive.
It is.
And also, you know, like I had an experience yesterday. Normally, you know, like I love my hummingbirds, and I got out my feeder to put up the hummingbird feeder, and it cracked, you know, and I was a little upset about it, and I thought, well, I'll just go get another one. Okay. So I bought a brand new one. I brought it home, and I put the feeder in it, and I went out and I went to hang it, and then crash, it broke. The glass was broke.
Well,
and you know what? It didn't. But I was in such a positive energy place right then, because I had been talking to somebody and I had been affirming, positive and changing my story about myself. And I had a really positive, high energy place. I'm not always there, but I was then, and it didn't bother me. I mean, 2 hummingbird feeders broke. And I don't know if I was just running so high that when I touched that feeder, it just didn't know what to do with me. I don't know, but it just fell,
What I hear from spirit is you've been really suffering. And I'm sorry if I'm sharing too much. I'll try not to share like anything super personal that they tell
That's
me.
okay.
I know you've been dealing a lot. Like I feel like has to do with like there's depression and sickness, like health stuff, and a lot of sadness. And so being that has been like I feel that within like even the room you're in, I can just see the heaviness of the energy. So just like kind of what I was saying, when you start to raise your vibration, it's like, hold on, girlfriend, you ain't leaving me. I'm trying to eat my steak tonight. Come back here. So it doesn't want you to break out of that energy.
Yes.
So yes, it was trying to get you to hit back down. But like you said, if you just, this sucks, but it is what it is, it doesn't affect you as much. And kind of like with your house, your body and your house is like your battery pack for your body. So what your house is like is like where you go to sleep, what the energy feels like, that's what energy you're absorbing and you're charging in. So I don't know if y'all have talked about like learning how to cleanse your body on a spiritual side yet.
We haven't.
Okay. When y'all start talking about that, because there's spiritual ways to clean your body, because just like you wouldn't take a bath for months on end, your spirit needs a bath too. There's a way to clean your auric field, your spiritual self, just as like there's a way to clean your physical self because we're a unit. But when you learn that, you can take all that stuff and also clean your space. For you, I would look up some YouTube videos. Okay. Smudging, like I said, everything, it takes different levels. I would look on YouTube and pull. Well, one of the really good ones is Mary, Undoer of Knots, 1 hour prayer. If my mom has your number, maybe we can send you the link. And I tell people, it's a Catholic prayer. You don't have to really 100% agree with everything it's saying. You're agreeing with the energy and the vibration that it brings.
Yes.
So that one I call like my eraser, because that's kind of what it does. Is it starts breaking up stuff so you can erase it. It's a good foundational tool to use, not just like you build with it, like using other things like sage and holy water, prayers, you build with it, but that's a really good one. Yeah, like an eraser, like it's a good foundation. And I would start playing some of that. You don't have to have it loud, because like I said, you don't have to, it's not about what it's saying, it's the vibration. You could even have it playing on 2 volume and it will still be effective because it's the energy it's releasing. But I would recommend for you to start working on cleansing your house spiritually, so that way you can recharge, because your life force is really drained right now.
Well, it has been because of years of dealing with drug abuse on my son's side and his children and everybody living here, and me trying to deal with that. They just left about 6 months ago, so I'm still recovering from that. Plus just a lot of negativity from trauma in my own life as a child. So, you're right. I need, I cleanse. We cleanse a lot. I mean, we use sage, and I use sage probably every day, at least once.
And sage is good and it does clear, but like I said, everything, kind of think of it maybe like a ladder. One thing is only going to break that one energetic level. You have to get through the other ones to really make an impact. Sage is a good starter point because it kind of like that tar we were talking about. Sage helps break that up so that it becomes gooey so you can clear it. But what happens is if you're just breaking it up and you're not clearing it, it will harden again, and you'll still feel just as weighed down as you did before you did it. You might just get a temporary release, whether it's 30 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks, you'll get a very temporary release of that burden, because thick energy, icky energy, it does feel heavy, and it can make you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world around on your body, and it does impact your body because everything works as a whole.
Yes, and the negativity of my thoughts,
Yes.
which I've been working on a lot, trying to fix a lot of that. This negativity really does drain me. You know, I'm drained a lot off and on because of the negativity that comes into my brain, you know, just
Well,
a
that's
feeling,
why
you know.
I would say start with cleaning your house, because like that's your battery pack. That's what you're charging in every day. And if it's overran with ick energy, then you're only going to ever charge a percentage in ick energy. You're never going to be able to reach 100% because you're not in that light and love, unconditional love energy.
Well,
So-
how do I do that? How do I do that? Like I do things, you know, like I listen to native music. I listen to I do drumming. I sit and drum and sing, and
What
you know,
spiritually, you're doing good things, but because of how long you have been in that area, one, it clings to clutter. And you have a lot of clutter in your house, they're saying. So there will be, you have to move the clutter so the energy can move like a circle. If your walls, if you just have stuff piled up, it's clinging to that gunk. And no matter how much sage or how much anything, if it's not moving, if the energy isn't away, because it'll cling to walls, it clings to the corners. If there's things for it to hide in, you're never cleaning it. So it's just temporarily. So what I would recommend, the first start with you is clearing it, like clearing the house, like making it less cluttered, whether how you move it, but just have the space to flow. And things you're doing is good, but you have to do it consistently because that's been in there for so long. You can't just do it once a day or once a week. It has to be done consistently. Sorry, wrong word. Consistently. And like homework for you, I feel like what they're saying, it could take you 3 to 5 months to fully clear that at the speed you're working at now, because you don't have a lot of energy. You get a little burst of energies. If you worked in that, it would probably take you 3 to 5 months to fully get the energy to like a 100% thing. Doing stuff 3 to 5 times a week. 5 times a week is where you should start off for the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then move to 3 weeks for the same amount of time and move down. And then eventually you can get to whenever you feel like it. It could be once a month because that energy will already be charged. But it does take effort to get rid of ick, unfortunately.
And see, because you have the grandkids and your children there, and all the energy of their anger and stuff is still there. That's why it's going to take a little while to clear it all out. But also Spirit was want me to also add in that when everybody is smudging and clearing their house, remember when you remove energy, it's the same thing as when you're removing it off yourself. You have to replace that energy. So if you're just cleaning your house and smudging it and saying, oh, I'm clearing all this negative energy out, but you're not calling none of the energy back in to fill that spot, guess what's going to happen? So that's why we use tobacco and cedar. Cedar is really good to bless your house with cedar after you smudge it and everything, to bring back in the good energy. But you want to bring that balance back in, because you don't never want to leave your house empty, you know, after you've done cleaned it, because that's where the impact of all this energy can come in and repack itself in your house and make it harder for you to get rid of, because they're looking for that doorway to get in, see? And if they can't get into your body, they're going to get into your house. So it's very You know, it's very important to keep it all clean and balanced.
Yeah, that's very difficult. That's where I do have difficulty with that because I physically do not have the ability to do heavy cleaning as
Yes,
far as the house goes, like cleaning the walls and
yes,
stuff like that.
but
And I did a lot. Hmm.
you will be able to, and instead of it being overwhelming for you, because it overwhelms you,
Hmm.
um, just take a little bit at a time. Like just do one space at a time. And if you get wore out, stop. But eventually you'll get it all done.
I did that when
That's how they,
the kids first moved out. I went through every corner of the house and cleaned. I mean, I did. I moved everything out. And I got rid of a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff I have now that's taking a lot of taking space up is I'm a crafter. I've got a lot of crafty stuff.
It doesn't have to like be completely like perfect. The energy just needs to flow around it because like y'all learned, everything flows in a circle. And even though the walls make a square in our house, that's how the
Mhm.
energy will circulate. So there
Okay.
needs to be
Okay.
enough room for it to flow instead of like getting, let's say like you have a whole lot of crafts or just piled up, instead of hitting that and being stuck in it, if there's some space and it's not just like thrown together, like it's spaced out, it will flow around it.
but see, one of the things you weren't doing, Pam, though, was calling in the good spirits after you cleaned it, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was one of her
I
problems.
don't feel like the spirit's saying that's not the issue. It's that okay. The energy in the house has a lot of heavy energy of sadness, health stuff, even disgust is what I feel. And those are heavier vibrations, like they're heavier negatives. And
Hmm.
because they were heavier negatives, you've only been scratching the surface of them cleaning them.
With a cowbell or something like that.
Like an egg would be really good for her in her house.
We'll
Some
talk
prayers.
about that. I'll call you on the phone and discuss how to do that.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Great. I mean, I really I noticed that improvements in my energy levels little by little, here and there. And yes, there is a lot of health problems here. My husband has stents in his heart and he doesn't have any energy at all. He feels like he can't do anything. And,
And
you
that's
know,
and that's what's weighing him down is that energy of this when the kids were there, because he
mhm.
was not feeling so good, it would cause him to have these thoughts of, well, y'all talked about it. I don't know how, and that's where it come out at. So with him just doing prayers to forgive himself for feeling like that and stuff, that's gonna
Mm,
break a lot of that up when you smudge.
okay.
Because it's gonna release those energy cords.
But the biggest thing is it just takes time, especially when you've had a house that has had lots of lower vibration stuck in it.
Mhm.
I said it, like Spirit told me, it'll take you 3 to 5 months to get it completely clean if you continue moving at the rate you're moving now. Now, as human, you could wake up tomorrow and go a totally different course, and it could change that. But right now, if you continue moving how you're moving, making the same feelings you have, making the same everyday steps, it'll take you about 3 to 5 months. But that's not a bad thing, because time is a weird thing with spirit. Yeah, because
Spirit doesn't go on time.
Mhm.
well, it just takes a while to get the messages there and back and worked into place, because that's how they do. They try to intertwine it to your timeline so that you can walk into that energy, whether that's money, relationship, anything positive. But let's say they've set that up, and let's say you be praying to win the lottery, and every day you wake up and you get in a routine. I have my coffee, I go to this store, and you buy a ticket every day. But then you wake up and one day you're like, oh, I just feel like crap today. I'm just going to stay in bed. That might have been the day spirit hooked it up for you to win that ticket, but you chose to go a different path than what was normal and your everyday thing. And that's kind of how spirit works, because they can't just be like, here you go, here it is. They have to intertwine the energy in a way that works. And sometimes that takes a little time. And to unwind negative energy, it takes time too, because it took time to get there. It took time to build up. It's not just snap your fingers and it's done. We all wish it was that way, but unfortunately it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a process. It's a process, but we're all getting there. Thanks, Pam. That was really good.
All right, thanks.
The stuff in the cupboards, it's more of the walls. Like if it's really junky in there, you do want to clean it out because it will get energy stuck. But don't everything on a spiritual sense is not something super explainable. Because spirit isn't a step 1, step 2. It doesn't work like that. It's just existing. And that's all energy. All energy exists. All energy is spirit. It is a form. It is a vibration. It just is either lower vibrations or positive vibrations.
And if y'all didn't hear that, Leo was asking how you got energy out of the cabinets, if you had stuff all stuck up in your cabinets.
But if you're really trying to clean that out, the best thing is I would make holy water and wipe out, like clean out everything, wipe out all the cabinets, and potentially even wash your dishes and like holy water, and then put it back in there. That's gonna be the most efficient way to untrap energy, like in a small area like that.
Anybody else have any questions?
I do.
Oh, I knew you were, Elizabeth.
Brandy, could you talk a little bit about generational energy that comes through our, when we, like, sometimes I feel like I'm picking up something from somebody else a long time ago, or it's being shown to me. But then do we move that energy, or is it, I mean, we're just still stuck with it? How do we deal with that kind of energy?
Okay, so that again, it's all a circle.
Right.
Just like generations, you get trapped in that energy. Like that's why most people they repeat and do exactly what their parents do or did, because it's a circle and you're following that energy. So let's say you're on a spiritual path. I don't want to say every single one, but like big ones that were meant to help you grow to your best version of yourself. The impactful ones. So that's usually low things that are hanging you down. For example, if your family's had a history with drugs, like addiction in their life, that's going to circle, and that will eventually hit you, and either you will repeat the circle or you will create a new one and break that energy off. Unfortunately, when you start working on yourself, you will start getting hit with energetic cords from like your DNA, because that's existing already in you on an energetic circle. It does suck when you have to break parents and grandparents and stuff they should have done, but maybe they didn't have the knowledge, and that's okay. But it's learning that it's an easy step instead of thinking, oh my God, they're burdening me with so much. It's actually a way to free you, because it's not that you're freeing the entire family. That could happen. But again, every human wakes up with free will. So let's say you break that. If the person who has that habit, they might wake up and still do that. Again, they're starting their new one, but you're not on that energetic. You're untied from it, and from that point on.
Okay. But it still comes through to us over time, right? I mean,
it's coming through because it's affecting you in some way on your physical, spiritual, emotional, It's affecting you on that circle in some way, even if it's something not
Even
conscious.
at that time.
Yes, it's affecting your growth. In order to reach unconditional love, you have to let go and find the forgiveness and the peace or whatever with all those situations. And so low vibrational circle patterns will
Okay.
always find a way to loop in. They're trying to loop in to pull you back. But if you're conscious of it, you know, you will have the ability to be like, I'm not going to choose, I'm going to walk a different path. And it's challenging, but once you break the cycle, it won't keep repeating forever. But unfortunately, in order to clear your DNA, you do sometimes have to deal with that if it's impactful on your soul. So it usually things with that have to do with some kind of soul negativity, like or a soul being trapped at some point in your DNA line. And so not that you're untrapping that soul, but you're untrapping that energy to come back into your DNA line. You're breaking.
Okay. Okay. I think I get that. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. That was good. Anybody else have any questions? Susan, how are you feeling?
I am better, thanks.
Good.
I had a couple of bad weeks, but I'm better now.
Is there anything that we can do to help you?
It was just good being here today and listening to how energy works. I have a better understanding how everything works in circles.
Yep.
Even prayer works in circles, and so it was very helpful to listen to you talk, and it answered a lot of questions.
Good.
Well, I knew you were having some trouble. You know, Spirit had told me to call you, but I haven't had a chance to call you. Because Spirit had showed me you were having trouble trying to put it all together and see how it connected. So if you have any questions, today would be a good day because Brandy can explain it a lot better than I can do.
Well, last class, thank you, Rodney, for recording it. What a blessing. Because if you're sick and you can't come, but I had a ton of stuff from the last class.
Well,
everything on it's like you have to do the footwork. You can't just do the energy work. I can do the energy work and stuff like that. Last class we talked about fears, expectations, that whole line of things that we had. And you have to identify that stuff and name it. And
yes.
What is it that I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of, not being loved. Those things, I can't just hit my sage stick and like, okay, be gone, I have to identify that crap. And
Well, see, that's kind of like
why I feel that way, and then I can work with the energy. There's a lot of short circuitry going on. I'm just going to do the energy work. That's all I need. I mean, I sang my chakras today. Isn't that good enough? It's, it's like, and that was really oddball for me, singing the chakras and the tones and this and that and the voice one and everything. Since I've done that, I haven't had that inability to speak thing that I've had to, deal with. But I have found you just can't squeak by just doing the energy work,
well, when Brandy was talking about that it's in layers, you know, when you're clearing, smudging your house and also when you're clearing yourself, it's in layers. That's why, you know, our chakras have different colors that go with it. Those are the layers that represents the layers. So each one that gets stuck with a different vibration that you have to clear with to get all the gook out.
My
So
brain has different colors. It's red over here, white over here.
but
But
you
I
know, you
thank
don't
you,
have to-
Brandy. You presented a lot of great information, and you did say one thing that was really key. Our growing up, we're taught so many things, and what happens is we reach adult life and we're imitating. We're imitating. We're not really. I remember that I wasn't really who I was. I mean, I was just imitating what I was taught, imitating rules and regulations, imitating requirements, you know, meeting standards, all this other kind of stuff. And until you break out of that, I did, you know, once I was able to break out of that, I was really able to start healing.
Yeah, and that's where the unconditional love for yourself comes in, because as humans, we're always trying to be something or somebody, because we're taught that from a young age in school, in the media. So wanting to not be an individual is really challenging because you don't want to be different. But that was created as a way to keep us separated from unity, from energy itself, because it's like, if you think of it like an umbrella, the biggest thing is it's fear, and so much things fall underneath that. But the only thing that will outshine that is unconditional love. And when you can find that within yourself, that's it. And the key to that is knowing that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what you eat, no matter what you look like, no matter anything, someone's going to tell you you're doing it wrong. Someone's going to tell you you're shitty for it. And you're never going to get away from that. So you have to learn to look in with you and be like, do I like who I see in the mirror today? Because ultimately that's all that matters. And if you can like what you see and you can learn to unconditionally love yourself, you can learn to unconditionally love everything else, because everything else is just an extension of you. So how you treat this pencil, how you treat this bottle of water, how you treat someone else is how you're treating yourself. Because we are all one. We are all one thing. We are all existing together, and we should all work like a circle if we're doing it correctly. So it is a hard thing to do, but when you start being conscious of it, it just gets easier and easier. You just got to keep pushing one foot forward and holding that love. But do know that you should give that to everyone, to everything, because everything and everyone is you. It's just as much of you as yourself, because energy is all one. It's one thing. It's unconditional. It's always flowing. Yes, everything is connected. And when you send out that love and you treat, whether it's someone telling you how crappy you are, giving you the evil eye, that you're never going to get over that. You're never going to stop that, because there's always going to be low vibrations intertwining with humans in some way, shape, or form. And they're going to be like, you suck. Like, and as long as you know you don't, because you have that faith in you, it gets easier and it gets more beautiful. And then the fear umbrella just poofs and is gone, because there ain't nothing that you have to be scared of.
Yeah,
because you're walking in unconditional love.
Yeah, and because it's the highest vibration, okay, the higher the vibration you go in your vibration, every time somebody's throwing you a negative thing at you, eventually it will become like just a little
Pebble.
poke at you. Where right now, if you have a lot of stuff you're working through, it feels like they're just knocking you down. This energy is knocking you down. But the more you raise up in that unconditional love and understanding of yourself and who you really truly are, the stronger you become in your armor. And then it'll be just like a little tap.
And it's
you'll
like
go-
that because
you'll
fear
go,
gone away.
Oh, you'll go, oh, I felt that. And then you'll kind of laugh, but it really does happen that way.
And it
And
takes
we'll
a
all
little
get
time.
there. We'll all get there.
But we have to share this stuff. We have to become a unit again so we can all share these gifts instead of being all about me, I. Let me give you this little bit of information, but I'm going to hold back the key part to keep you coming. That's not what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is like, here, you're thirsty. I have an extra bottle of water. Take it, because everything in it, from a bug to a pencil, is part of you. And no matter if someone's sending you hate, again, they're part of you. So you have to send back that unconditional love, dissipate the energy and turn it to love, and know that you're never going to get away from it. But how can you hinder or be mad or anything with someone if they don't have the knowledge to break free? And sadly, so many humans don't have that knowledge. They're not taught these things. So they're just doing what they think is the norm. And it can cause a lot of negative energy to hit you, and negative energy will affect you. But it's how big you let it affect you will be how it consumes your life or how you move forward.
Well, it's your choice. Remember, we're learning it's your choice to feel it. Okay. And it's your choice to take an ownership of how somebody else felt about you. That wasn't your feeling to begin with, but you decided you would own it instead of letting it run through you.
And know that you're going to have those, even when you're walking a really great spiritual path, you're going to have human moments. Because it's impossible for those not to exist. You're going to have days where you cry. You're going to have days where you want to rip your hair out. You're going to have days where you want to scream. And that's normal. But walking the high vibration is learning that that energy can trap you back down and make you stuck and hate life and live in fear. Or you could just let it pass through you, because it's human and human emotions are going to exist within you. Let it deal with it. Ride the little wave and let it be over, instead of letting it consume and be every day for the rest of your life, you holding on to just that person told me I sucked, and you hold into that. Because like I said, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, anything, someone's going to tell you you're doing it wrong. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Brandy. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
A lot of great wisdom.
Well, I hope you get to feeling better, Susan. And y'all, our time is already up. So I guess, Leo, you can say the closing prayer. Unless there's anybody else that has a question. The only person we didn't hear from was Sherry, and I knew if she had a question, she would have thrown her hand up. So if nobody else has, I think Leo has something to say. But after Leo, we'll go into the closing prayer and see y'all next week.
You knew what I had on my mind. Yes, you did. I had came in for breakfast this morning here at the senior center, and went to collect just a couple of little things, three pieces of sausage link, and there was an eggs over there, so I grabbed an egg, not realizing there was an egg underneath the egg, and then a little bit of hash browns, and the cook says in a gruff way, "Only one egg." Nowhere is there a sign, first off, that you only take one or whatever. But that stuck on me a little bit, and didn't feel good. But you gotta look at, this poor guy's got a bad day or something. It takes some effort to learn how to shed that stuff off. Anyway,
I think I tell people kind of think of energy. If anyone's ever played Candyland, I'm sure you played that game in your lifetime or know of it. Yes, no, no. Well, it's like this, it's a kid's game and you draw, but they call licorice spots. So some of the colors have these black goo on them that it makes you lose your turn or till you draw the same color to keep going. Energy kind of works like that. It's like you're walking, and when you're high vibration, the ick is going to try to, so you step in it, you're like, ew, the ick, oh no, like if you stepped in dog poop or something. Now, what you can do is be like, and move on, or you can be like, oh my God, I hate my life. I'm gonna have to throw these shoes away. It's done ruined. I'm gonna have to go to the store right now. Both of those are responses that people have, but one of them makes you move on with your day and be able to not stay in that horrible thing. Because like all of us can contest, when you just let that thing roll over you and you're like, okay, crap, I'm not gonna, it's just, the whole rest of your day is like that.
You
It's
don't
like,
feel-
well,
you
ba
don't-
bam, ba bam, ba bam, and you're just like, why?
You're gonna feel bad all day.
Yeah. And that is, as silly as it's to say that it is a choice, it is, but it's not like, okay, I'll flip a switch kind of choice. It's a conscious choice. Like you have to consciously know that that is an energy working against you. And some of it is just things that are always going to exist because there's ugly in the world. But learning that ick, like you don't know anything about the other person, you don't know why. So all you could be like, whether you say it out loud or to yourself, is, well, I don't accept that energy, but I send back light and love to them.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do, but when you start doing that, things start moving differently for you.
Well, all right, y'all. Sherry, I hope you get to feeling better. Rodney, take us out with a prayer, and we will see y'all next week. And I love each and every one of you.
And have a beautiful day.
Rodney or Leo?
You.
Okay.
Thanks, Brandy.
Yes,
I
thanks,
did,
Brandy.
I did say Leo, didn't I? Would you like to say the prayer, Leo?
No, I did.
Oh, Rodney, he would prefer you to do it.
Okay. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we thank you so very much for this opportunity to be part of this most sacred circle. We thank you so very much for the opportunity to hear ShaHaWin's daughter Brandy speaking, and for hearing Spirit speak so clearly through her to our hearts and to our minds and to our souls. We ask, Creator Most High, Most Divine, that you please put it upon us to walk in unconditional love. Help us to understand that we all are relatives. We all are walking the same path, and help us to guide each other and shine that light so those in the dark may see their way out, and we may be our highest versions of self. Please protect us during this week. Help us to have a beautiful week. Help us to shine our light brightly on our brothers and sisters. Help us to bring peace to this world, and help us to be those examples that you placed us here to be, that we may be unconditional love. We love you. We thank you. We ask that you help us to walk in a way that is pleasing in your sight. Aho.
Bye, everyone.